Is Canada legalizing methamphetamine and cocaine? For real? Find the answer to this through this video in the Journey for Canadians. It all started in 2018. The Federal Cannabis Act came into effect on 17th of October 2018 and made Canada the second country in the world after Uruguay to formally legalize cultivation, possession, acquisition, and consumption of cannabis and its byproducts.
Man, they ain't gonna care. Look, man, we're gonna be cool. We're gonna roll one blunt and we're gonna get up out of here. Just one? Just one.
They won't care, huh?
Man, just keep running.
Here we seek the legal sides and the first laws of this matter, which happened in 1880s until 1920s. The beginning of narcotics control. The 60s were a time of political and social change in Canada.
I'm glad you found out. Because I'm proud to be Canadian.
Not just a decade of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Sex and drugs and rock and roll.
Activism flourished, centered around a counterculture movement developed partially in response to the conservative government of John Diefenbaker. This movement was more open-minded to alternative views about sex, race, and rational consciousness. Illegal drug use increased, especially cannabis use, as society coalesced around a desire for political and social change that challenged convention. The Narcotic Control Act came into force in 1961. It legalized discrimination and punitive penalties against people who used drugs. That same year, Canada signed the Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs, an international agreement that weakened domestic control over drug policy.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse.
The Single Convention reaffirmed and strengthened a criminal justice approach to substance use. In 1996, the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act was passed. This law repealed the Narcotic Control Act in Parts 3 and 4 of the Food and Drug Act, parts dealing with the advertisement of controlled substances. 1980s until 2000, resisting the drug war. Prohibition and abstinence-based treatment continued under neoliberalism, and the criminalization of substance use intensified in Canada, in lockstep with the United States. In 1986, US President Ronald Reagan reaffirmed Richard Nixon's war on drugs by increasing law enforcement, spending and approving mandatory minimum penalties for drug offenses.
And once I'm swept into office, I'll sell our children's organs to zoos for meat, and I'll go into people's houses at night and wreck up the place.
There is much more to this story. Between 2010 and 2020, another drug poisoning epidemic emerged. This one unprecedented in scale and severity. Illegal, unregulated fentanyl and carfentanil has contaminated the illegal drug supply and resulted in thousands of deaths across Canada. But now it's kinda getting crazy. British Columbia has been the hardest hit province. It declared fentanyl a public health crisis 6 years ago, and provincial officials asked for federal permission to decriminalize the possession of small amounts of opiates, cocaine, and methamphetamines. The experimental policy, which takes effect in January 2023, will last 3 years. British Columbia's Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, Sheila Malcolmson, says the move will put the focus on healthcare. Adults will be allowed to possess a combined total of 2.5 grams of opioids, cocaine, methamphetamine, and MDMA. While those substances will remain illegal, adults found in possession for personal use will not be arrested, charged, or have their drugs seized. Instead, they will be offered information on available health and social services. The program will run from 31st of January 2023 to 31st of January 2026. What do you think will happen eventually? Will it become a forever law? If you're Canadian, tell us about your experiences with these issues. Ask us and we will answer it simply in a video.